Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with a news update video on the upcoming 46 Super Sentai series, Avataro Sentai DonBrothers. So we apparently have some leaked toy listings, which give us some sort of info about the way things work a little bit more. Kind of generally some of the same things we've been hearing, but it kind of just fleshes the ideas out a little bit more and gives us some ideas about some of the unique things that the series is going to be bringing. I have it all on my phone from a post from Dukemon, so I'm just going to read it to you. Welcome to the segment called Dawson Read You the News. It's just like Sandy Rivers reading you the newspaper. First of all, this huge detail, the peach symbol on Don Momotaro's head, you know, that little thing we see in the silhouettes, not silver, it's pink. So game changer there, guys. I guess the bike in there is not going to be a henshin item. It's called the Enyo Ride-On. It has a bike mode and a robot half mode, and it combines with Juran to form Don Zenkai-O, because we know Juran's going to be in it, so we're going to be getting a new form of Zenkai-O for this series. And Don Momotaro, who I guess is like our main leader guy, is going to be using the general, the Gear Tingler, the Zenkaiger changer for the first little bit until March, and then he's going to get the Dawn Blaster, which is the other henshin device the others have been using. It has, like, I guess, a dual gear system where it can use multiple types of gears, like the Sentai gears, the Avataro gears, I'm just going to call them the Avatar gears, the Avatar gears, and the Avatar gear alters, so it can basically, it sounds like it can use two of them at the same time, and kind of, there's like an Avatar element to it, I guess, there's kind of these video game sounding things with like avatars and stuff like that. And the Avatar gears are going to be used effectively as their henshin item, just like the Sentai gears, and there's going to be ones to transform them, as well as ones based off of legendary rangers, so they're going to be continuing this kind of legendary ranger based aesthetics, which we'll see again in a minute. And the Avataro gear alter, so these are alter forms, is a power-up item, and it transforms Don Momotaro into an alter form. They're kind of like alter CGI robot forms, and then the other gears will allow them to summon Mecha kind of based off of previous legendary rangers, like a Tokyuger Ally 1 summons an Ichigo Resha, a Juoger 1's gonna summon Eagle Shark Lion, he started the fire. And then you have the Zanglass Sword, which is Don Momotaro's personal weapon. Can you use infrared data communication with the blaster? I guess so. There's, I guess, not going to be regular mecha releases until June. And the alters, or these kind of alternate robot forms, are going to be part of the Sentai change line, kind of like the little figures that we have now for the Zenkaigers, and kind of like the Revice and Kamen Rider lines where they're like transforming figures. And apparently to go along with this, there's this rumor or idea that there's not going to be traditional mecha battles, but rather these battles where they transform into these mecha alters and fight in different dimensions, but I'll get into that in a second. And there's a last little bit here about Zenkaiser, because we know that, as I mentioned, both Juan and Zenkaiser are going to be continuing in the show. It says he's going to be in the show till at least June. Hopefully after that he done gone. And he becomes Zenkaiser Black, and he'll get a new figure as well. I almost forgot some of the other designations about the Rangers too. So we have Saru Brother, who's a gorilla, it's a physical suit. Oni Sister uses a spiked weapon club and is a skirt. And then Inu Brother is a three-heads tail cartoon dog, CGI character. And then Kiji Brother is like a slender man with wings and is also a CGI character. Okay, so what are my thoughts? I mean, overall, this is all just speculation at this point. You know, it's hard to tell exactly what all this is going to be like. So a lot of what I'm saying, you know, is just my initial impressions. Because for all I know, this could turn out to be amazing, and all my fears and thoughts on it could end up being completely washed away. But I just want to give my thoughts based on the impressions of this. So first of all, I'll say aesthetically, we don't know what this looks like. But I mean, aesthetically, from what it sounds like, I have no problem with them trying something really different aesthetically. You know, even though the sort of more eccentric Toku aspects like Zenkaiser has isn't exactly my thing personally, I do love the idea of aesthetically them trying something different to shake it up. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter all that much to me how it looks. I just want the show to be good. They could be dressed in paper bags with smiley faces, but if the plot was good, I'm here for it. The only thing that really concerns me about the different aesthetics and the sort of carryover aesthetics and ideas of Zenkaiser that it concerns me is just a couple of things. Mainly, I feel that with Zenkaiser, you know, as we went on, I feel like the four non-human characters really got left in the background, and they feel like glorified mascots, and I'm worried about that happening when you have more non-humanoid characters, and like kind of miss out on having a more ensemble cast of developed characters. I'm also just worried about, in general, continuing the general tone of Zenkaiser. You know, it's not exactly my favorite thing, I don't hate it, but I'm ready for a refresh, and if we do continue kind of the same general feel, and it really does feel like 2.0, that's going to be a little bit disappointing to me, because I just like that sometimes Sentai will give you a palate cleanser. You know, when you have a sillier Sentai like Car Ranger or Go Onger, you usually follow it with something a little more traditional. And not like I'm saying I want it to be traditional, but I'm just saying tonally and structurally, I'd like to see something a little bit different rather than continuing what we've been getting, because more than ever, I feel like I'm just ready for a palette change. Again, all of these concerns could be washed away later, and this could be completely opposite of what I'm thinking, but I'm just a little bit apprehensive about continuing a little bit of Zenkaiger's aesthetics and a little bit of Zenkaiger's problems with leaving characters behind. And likewise, I'm also concerned about the carryover characters, because I mean, I don't hate Kaito, but I don't really like him either, and I'm kind of ready to see him go after the end of this series, so the idea of him sticking around isn't that appealing to me. It's strange because a lot of these ideas I think are cool on the surface, like a semi-sequel series and some of these aesthetic ideas, but it's also married to continuing a Sentai I'm kind of ready to move on for, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. I'm also not a huge fan of them possibly continuing or seemingly continuing this idea of past Sentai designs, mainly because if you guys know me, you know I'm a little bit sick of all that type of fan service stuff, but I feel if you do it all the time, it really takes away from the specialty of it. You know, we don't do it every year in Sentai and don't do it as much as Rider does, but Zenkaiger is a series we're just getting off of where a lot of the designs are inspired based off of past series. And I would much rather stop and think about, okay, 5-10 years, next anniversary series, what are they going to do next time? I don't want to think, let's do it next Tuesday. And as far as the no mecha battles goes, it doesn't sound like that's really what's happening. It's really just a superficial change. If we're doing these sort of robot fights in a different dimension, but they're not robots grow big fights, it's basically the same thing. So I feel like if there's anybody concerned about like, oh, that purist, they have to have mecha fights, I wouldn't be worried about that. It's just the same software, different case. In fact, if anything, that made me think I would rather have a much bigger shakeup, you know, because when I was reading this, I'm like, well, why not do something like you have the Ranger forms and then you have a mecha power-up like Zenkaiser and they just fight on the ground in robot power-ups. I'm like, but that's the same thing too. I'm not saying get rid of mecha battles, but I'm just saying I would much rather see a more fundamental structural change rather than a technicality. I hesitate to use this example because I don't 100% agree, but some people talk about how Sun and Moon's trials and lack of gym battles were kind of a false lead because they weren't really that different if you get down to it. Like, you just rearranged gym battles a little bit and presented it as different. And I don't fully agree with that. This isn't a Pokemon video, but I'm saying I think that's the idea I get from this, is this idea of, oh, we're not doing mecha battles, but we're doing robot fights in a different dimension. I'm like, they're mecha battles. And that kind of brings me to my ultimate point about this, which is that I feel this is all just going to be relatively superficial change. It sounds like they're making a lot of big swing changes, but really what they're just doing is changing the aesthetics. That's just personally how I feel about Zenkaiser, is I feel like it looks aesthetically different, but it's the same old shtick. And I feel like once the newness of all the CGI characters and these alter battles, after all that wears off, it's just going to feel like the same thing. And if they want to shake things up, I would much rather them really shake things up and structurally change things, make things compelling narratively, rather than just these aesthetic changes. But we'll wait and see. I could be proven wrong. These are just my concerns and thoughts at the moment. I'm definitely excited in a curious manner to see this. I'm not like excited, but I'm excited to see what this looks like because it sounds so different aesthetically, but I would much rather see it be structurally different. But who knows, maybe it'll surprise me. But what do you guys think of this out-of-the-box Sentai? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you know notifications for my videos. DonBrothers, signing out.